guys, we are back with another song by Eminem. And
Yes.
which one are we doing today?
Today we're doing Hailie's song. You know it?
Do I?
I would say you do.
I do.
Yeah, I think you would recognize it once you hear it.
As I'm like trying to think, I'm like, not really coming up with anything. I probably know it and just think it has another name or never really knew the name,
Yeah.
if you think I know it.
Yeah, I think you'll recognize the chorus, maybe even before that. I think you'll recognize it. Eminem does some singing on it, which is interesting. Yeah. And then just the backstory on it is he wrote the song, he intended on giving it to Hailie, like later on in life, I think.
Sweet.
And he was convinced to put it on the album. It wasn't intended for the album, initially at least.
So they thought it was like that good. They're like, yo, like this has to be on the album.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Check it out.
Yes, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on all social media channels. Links are in the description below. It's You're with Smith, Youre, on everything from like Instagram to Twitter and TikTok and all that.
Yes. Here we go.
Yo, I can't sing, but I feel like singing. I wanna fucking sing, cause I'm happy. Yeah, I'm happy. I got my baby back. Yo, check it out. Some days I sit staring out the window, watching this world pass me by. Sometimes I think there's nothing to live for. I almost break down and cry. Sometimes I think I'm crazy. I'm crazy, oh so crazy. Why am I here? Am I just wasting my time? But then I see my baby. Suddenly I'm not crazy. It all makes sense when I look into her eyes. Oh no. Sometimes it feels like the world's on my shoulders. Everyone's leaning on me. But sometimes it feels like the world's almost over. But then she comes back to me.
So I think I forgot to mention, Eminem got custody of Hailie,
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah, that's what prompted him to write this song.
Okay.
So when he says lines about "come back to me," he was awarded custody of Hailie. So
That makes sense.
yeah,
And I know this song.
yeah, definitely.
Was it on the radio? I
I don't
can't
think so.
remember.
I don't think it was.
No?
I don't think it was a single. No.
Okay.
Yeah. So he starts off with this little intro. Yo, I can't sing. I feel like singing. I want to fucking sing because I'm happy.
So,
Yeah.
like, obviously he sings in the song, but did he have like vocal lessons or is this just like completely raw?
So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point he had vocal lessons, but
Yeah.
I think he's doing this little intro saying I can't sing because he feels his
Like his
singing's
voice is
shitty
bad?
on this song. Yeah, in
Okay.
particular. Yeah.
So, like, maybe it's very raw. Like, maybe he didn't have vocal lessons yet.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he ever did, but that wouldn't shock me. I do like in the chorus at the very end how he drags out the me. He goes up really high, like almost like intentionally, like being silly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so he says, "Yeah, I'm happy. I got my baby back." So
That's cute.
again, alluding to the whole custody situation. So he starts the first verse. Some days I sit staring out the window, watching this world pass me by. Sometimes I think there's nothing to live for. I almost break down and cry.
That's sad.
Yes, very sad. Um, yes, so then he says, Sometimes I think I'm crazy. I'm crazy. Oh, so crazy. Why am I here? Am I just wasting my time?
So, like, thinking about killing himself?
It seems like it.
Yeah.
But then I see my baby. Suddenly I'm not crazy. It all makes sense when I look into her eyes.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, it is. And so I will point out, it's in particular, especially for Eminem, it's very basic, rudimentary type rhyming. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was written for his little girl. You know what I mean? So it kind of makes sense that it's like very, it's not like some crazy lyrically in depth. It's a face value song, you know what I mean? With like basic rhyming,
Yeah.
and it makes sense because it was made for her.
And then it's like, get you a dad who loves you the way Eminem loves
Yeah,
Hailie.
for sure. Definitely.
Although my dad does.
Yeah.
Like, we'll see my dad on Sunday, and then he'll text me on Monday saying, I love you so much and I miss you so much.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I
It's
just saw
funny.
you yesterday, Dad.
Yeah. It's funny.
It's so funny.
So the chorus goes, sometimes it feels like the world's on my shoulders, everyone's leaning on me, because sometimes it feels like the world's almost over, but then she comes back to me.
It's so cute.
So, yeah. So the world's on his shoulders. It's, he's talking about all the things that, I mean, in his whole career, but in particular, the theme of this album, all the shit that's going on, multiple gun charges, the divorce with Kim, the assault charge. He's got his superstardom at this point. The whole world's watching. He feels like the boy in the bubble, like he mentions, and he's got all these critics and people talking all this shit. So he feels like literally the world's on his shoulders. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
just like all the stresses of his life.
Yeah. And everybody's leaning on him, but then,
And like leaning on him, like, like his record label people, like people who
yeah.
look to him for like support, I guess.
Yeah, well, everybody, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so also so it's interesting. It's all that line, everybody leaning on me, reminds me of like the theme somewhat on the song like Toy Soldiers,
Don't
where
know that one.
you should that had a music video and it was a hit. It has that 80s sample of like step by step, heart to heart, left, right, left. I don't know if you know that. We all fall
Is there
down, like
marching?
kind of.
I
So
think.
either way, so the theme of that song, it's really about like rap beef and like all the problems that he and all the people in his crew have, but like 50 Cent and like D12 and stuff and like, Murder Inc., Ja Rule, all of that. But in that song he talks about, I'm the leader, my crew looks for me to guide them. So you know what I mean? Like he also feels responsible for all the people, D12, 50 Cent, G Unit, all the people he has signed under him, and then his family relying on him to support them, and then the fans, you know what I mean? So he feels like a lot of
Yeah.
responsibility to a lot of different people, particularly at this point when he wrote the song, you know what I
Okay.
mean? And then when he says, but then she comes back to me, again, we discussed
He
he got,
lost custody.
yes, he did. And all right, yeah, we'll pick up right here.
Then she comes back to me. My baby girl keeps getting older. I watch her grow up with pride. People make jokes, 'cause they don't understand me. They just don't see my real side. Act like shit don't faze me. Inside it drives me crazy. My insecurities could eat me alive. But then I see my baby. Suddenly I'm not crazy. It all makes sense when I look into her eyes. Oh no. Sometimes it feels like the world's on my shoulders. Everyone's leaning on me. But sometimes it feels like the world's almost over. But then she comes back to me.
So,
Hmm.
second verse. He says, my baby girl keeps getting older. I watch her grow up with pride. People make jokes because they don't understand me. They just don't see my real side.
Mhm.
So, he's kind of alluding to the fact that people look at him and they listen to his music and his lyrics and they kind of feel like, oh, how could this guy be a good father? How could he raise a child?
I mean, obviously, like, we know that Eminem is a good dad, but that's because, like, you know Eminem so well, but like there are a bunch of people who probably just hear his music, don't look up anything about him, and like I don't blame them for thinking that because his music does portray like someone who probably couldn't raise a child.
Yeah,
Like his like fucked up songs.
yeah, but it's funny, like if there's like an actor who plays like a murderer or a rapist, like we don't think they actually do that. You know what I
Well,
mean?
no, but like in a movie, like it's clear that like they're acting. But in some of Eminem's songs, like he talks about like shit about his life. And a
Yeah,
lot of the times it's like really fucked up shit. Like how he beat the shit out of that bodyguard. Like
yeah,
maybe you wouldn't think someone who does that would be a good father. I don't know.
yeah.
I can
So
see
so
someone
that's
thinking that.
no. I get that too. I get what you're saying. But even that's something that happened in real life. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's not like his lyrics alone, like he talks about killing people. Like is he going around killing people? Do you know what I mean? So like
I mean, I guess someone could be like, well, how do we know he hasn't killed anybody? I
yeah,
mean, I guess you don't, but like he didn't.
yeah.
Yeah. But like
So
it's different from a movie for sure.
I mean, not really. You're an artist portraying something. You know what I mean? Then if you want to go,
Yes.
oh, you didn't write it, so it's like, okay, do we say that the writers of those movies are the ones that believe that and act it? Do you know what I mean?
All I'm saying is I could see how someone could assume that what he's rapping about is how he really feels
Yeah. No, I get
and
it.
like how he really is.
Because he does write a lot of his
Especially just
true
about
beliefs
doing all
into
the drugs and the
songs.
drinking alone. Like
Yeah.
people probably don't think you could be a good father and do all those things.
Yeah, for sure. So he said people make jokes because they don't understand me. They just don't see my real side. So yeah. I act like shit don't phase me. Inside, it drives me crazy. My insecurities could eat me alive. But then I see my baby. Suddenly, I'm not crazy. It all makes sense when I look into her eyes. So, he talks about his insecurities here. You get a lot more of that later on in his catalog, but he's acknowledging that, even as big as he is at this point, it's like his
Yeah.
peak. He has
Like
insecurities and he
really
feels less than.
anxiety and
Yeah.
like just uncomfortable with like certain aspects of himself, I would guess.
Yeah, for sure. But then when he sees his daughter, he's like, I'm not
It all
crazy.
melts away.
Yeah, it makes
It's
sense.
so cute.
Yeah, it is. It's sweet. All right. And then the chorus again. Sometimes it feels like the world's on my
Yeah.
shoulders. All right. And then we will pick it up here.
Okay.
But then she comes back to me. Yeah, if I could sing, I'd keep singing this song to my daughter. If I could hit the notes, I'd blow something as long as my father to show her how I feel about her. How proud I am that I got a him a daddy. I'm so glad that a mom didn't own me. Now you probably get this picture from my public persona, the dime, a pistol packing drug addict who bags on his mama. But I wanna just take this time out to be perfectly honest, cause there's a lot of shit I keep bottled that hurts deep inside of my soul. And just know that I grow colder the older I grow. This boulder on my shoulder gets heavy and harder to hold, and this load is like the weight of the world. And I think my neck is breaking. Should I just give up or try to live up to these expectations? Now look, I love my daughter more than life in itself, but I got a wife that's determined to make my life live in hell. But I handle it well, given the circumstances I'm dealt. So many chances, man, it's too bad. Could've had someone else, but the years that I've wasted is nothing to the tears that I've tasted. So here's what I'm facing: 3 felonies, 6 years of probation. I went to jail for this woman. I've been to bat for this woman. I've taken bats to people's backs, been over backwards for this woman. Man, I should've seen it coming. What I stick my penis up in? When to rip the prenup up if I'd have seen what she was fucking. But fuck it, it's over. There's no more reason to cry no more. I got my baby, the only lady that I adore, Hailie. So sayonara, try tomorrow, nice to know ya. Our babies travel back to the arms of a rightful owner, and suddenly it seems like my shoulder blades have just shifted. It's like the greatest gift you can get, the weight has been lifted. And now it don't feel like the world's on my shoulders. Everyone's leaning on me, cause my baby knows that her daddy's a soldier. Nothing can take her from me.
You said that I think you said, did you say that he was joking with the E? I think you said that.
So I take it as the way he carries the me like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I think he's like intentionally doing that.
I think I think that's him trying to sing.
No, the way he's carrying it, I think it's that part's intentionally like he's like, yeah, I can't sing, but I'm gonna hit this fucking really high note anyway. So there's a little more. There's like a little outro there, but we'll just go through this verse quickly. Um, so so I thought it was man, whatever. He said, man, if I could sing, I'd keep singing this song to my daughter. If I could hit the notes, I'd blow something as long as my father. So
What?
this line I always found somewhat confusing. It's so his father left. So okay, when you say somebody can like really blow, it means they can sing. You know what I mean? So that's another word for singing.
Probably should have used a different word.
So yeah, but then he says I'd blow something as long as my father. So I don't know if he means like his father's long gone. You know what I mean? So like he would hit the notes like that hard. You know what I mean? What do you what?
I just go straight to penis. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I don't
I
know.
don't think he's actually talking about bullying his dad.
Obviously, but that's what it reads. That's how it reads.
Yeah, so
What he's trying to say. That's all I hear, though.
yeah, but assuming that that's obviously not what he's saying, when he say I blow something as long as my father. So again, knowing that, if you hear somebody say, oh, like he can really blow, like he can sing, you know what I mean? He
I
has
just like
like it's like an allusion to like your lung capacity, like your power. You know what I mean? You hear that with like instruments, like trumpets in particular, but singing also, blowing.
sure those are that's what he's saying.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
100%.
I have
And
no. I got
so
nothing.
the as long as my father. So I think that he means like his father's like long gone. You know what I mean? Like he left. And
Oh, is he really tall?
no, I don't think so.
I don't know.
Yeah. So whatever.
So if you guys know, just comment in the comment.
So I mean, I know what he's saying, but the specific bar, like what's intended by the actual words when he says as long as my father, I'm not sure if that means he's long gone. You know what I mean? Um, anyway, so then he says to show her how I feel about her, how proud I am that I got her. God, I'm a
Oops, sorry.
daddy. I'm so glad that her mom. So this part's edited even on the
Yeah,
album.
I heard that and I was like, I don't know.
So I don't know if it's didn't want her or didn't abort her. Do you know what I
I'm
mean?
surprised that he wrote this song for her and kept those lyrics in there. Like she doesn't really need to know that.
Well, and I think that's why it's scrambled. So
Well, I
actually,
mean, that kind of leaves it up to her imagination. Like, oh, what were those words? I mean, there's only a couple that could fit in there.
so I'm gonna play this again real quick while we're going through just that part. Let's see if we could hear it.
Daughter, if I could hit the notes, I blow something as long as my father to show her how I feel about her. How proud I am that I got him a daddy. I'm so glad that her mom didn't. Now you
So I've looked this up. Some people say it's won her, and like they claim they've heard it or they know for sure.
Or abort her.
Yes. So this could be taken a few ways depending on the lyrics. So
Yeah.
he won the custody. So he could be saying, "I'm so glad that her mom didn't want her,"
Or
meaning
win.
like, yeah, I don't think
He won the
well,
custody battle.
there'd be no reason to edit that out to say, "I'm glad that their mom didn't win custody." Do you know what I mean? Like, there's
It's clear.
yeah. That's not saying anything bad, but I could see why, even if he is just saying didn't want her, you'd be like, okay, that's kind of fucked up. Like,
Why wouldn't he just
she,
re-record it?
I don't know. There's a few things like that that
Sounds like he
they
kind of wants her to know.
they get censored.
You know what I mean?
So I'm not sure if it was up to him. You know what I mean? It could have been like the label could have been like, you can't say that. That's going to put us in jeopardy. You're making a claim about her. You know what I mean?
Because it's not a
It's not
true claim because
it's not
it didn't
necessarily it's
happen.
not necessarily the artist, you know what I mean? So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's want her, didn't abort her. You could take the want her even meaning abortion, do you know what I mean? Or just didn't want her in the custody, whatever.
And then back to my statement, why didn't they just re-record it?
So I mean he probably finished the album, they were done, and then they were like, yeah, I don't know. He might not have
Wondering.
wanted to change it. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
this is the song I
So
wrote.
like it was them.
Yeah, it could be. Or
Alright.
he decided like, okay, maybe since this is going to be out in public, I don't want, it to be out there. Whatever the circumstances are. it's edited even on the explicit version of the album.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
a big thing to tell your kid.
yeah, it is.
Like, I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, if it is abort her, I mean,
Either way,
whatever. Um, and then then he continues to say, now you probably get this picture from my public persona that I'm a pistol packing drug addict who begs on his mama.
yeah, it's like what I was saying, that
Yeah,
people who don't do enough research and just listen to his music superficially or whatever,
yeah, just think,
that's all you're gonna think of him.
yeah,
Why would you ever think anything else?
yeah. Um, but I want to take this time out to be perfectly honest, because there's a lot of shit I keep bottled that hurts deep inside of my soul. And just know that I grow colder the older I grow. This boulder on my shoulder gets heavy and harder to hold. And this load is like the weight of the world, and I think my neck is breaking. Should I just give up or try to live up to these expectations? So again, that's like a common theme that we've heard in the other verses.
Yeah,
He's saying, people don't know it, but I'm human too. I hurt, I have these emotions, and this is a lot of pressure for me, and I don't know how to handle it. And I feel like he says my neck is breaking, like he's physically gonna break under the scrutiny,
yeah,
you know.
definitely. And like holding the world on his
And then he
shoulders.
says, should I just give up or try to live up to everybody's expectations?
It goes somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, for sure. Um, and then he continues, now look, I love my daughter more than life in itself, but I got a wife who's determined to make my life living hell. But I handle it well given the circumstances I'm dealt. So many chances, man, it's too bad. Could have had someone else. But the years that I've wasted is nothing to the tears that I've tasted. So here's what I'm facing: 3 felonies, 6 years of probation.
That's a lot.
So yeah, again, this is the allusion to what was going on with Kim, and he literally says he loves his daughter, and he's happy that him and his wife created her, but now apparently she's making his life live in hell.
Mhm.
And he's like, oh, this is too bad. I wasted so many years with her. I could have been with somebody else.
Yeah, it's just a whole bunch of crazy stuff to put in a song to your daughter
To
too.
give her,
Like that's all I'm thinking about it as, and I'm
yeah,
like, Jesus.
yeah.
Like, are you sure about that? Are you
So
sure he's
it's
just saying that because he's singing in the song and he was embarrassed?
no,
He
so
pretends like it was for Hailie.
no, so there's an obvious difference between the third verse and the first two. So it's possible that when they decided to put on the album, he
Like they
recorded this.
changed it.
Well, no, he added this third verse to it. Do you know what I
Okay.
mean? It's possible. I mean,
This
I
is like
don't know the full
years later.
story. Yeah.
Even at like 18, she'd probably be like, what? I mean,
Yeah,
granted,
it's
she
gonna
probably has listened to every single song he's ever put out,
imagine.
including this one. But like, let's say this was like the first one you ever saw, I'd be like, damn.
Yeah.
And like you didn't know.
Yeah. Um, so where were we? Oh yeah, but the years that I've wasted is nothing to the tears that I've tasted. So here's what I'm facing: 3 felonies, 6 years of probation. I went to jail for this woman. I've been to bat for this woman. I've taken bats to people's backs, bent over backwards for this woman. I like the kind of like a little alliteration there.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. And then he goes on to say, man, I should have seen it coming. What I stick my penis up in.
Again,
Funny.
shouldn't put that in a song to your daughter.
Yeah. Wouldn't have ripped the prenup up
Did
if
he say, why did I stick my penis up it? Or what did I stick my penis up in?
why I stick
I
my
thought it
penis.
was, why did I stick my penis up it?
I thought it was what did I stick my penis up in? Let's
I
listen.
mean, I don't know.
Let's listen. It's right here.
Either way, if he didn't do that, he wouldn't have Hailie.
It's right here.
For this woman, man, I should have seen it coming. What I stick my penis up in.
I hear what I stick my penis up in. Like, what did I do?
I heard why. I heard the, I know, whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Um, wouldn't have ripped the prenup up if I'd have seen what she was fucking. So,
So she's cheating.
yeah. But fuck it. It's over. There's no more reason to cry no more. I got my baby. So I got my baby, the only lady that I adore, Haley. So I don't know if it's I got my baby, or I got my baby, maybe the only lady that I adore. One or the other. Same type of thing. The only lady that I adore, Haley. So sayonara, try tomorrow. Nice to know ya. our babies travel back to the arms of a rightful owner. So I find this very, very interesting that he uses the words our babies. Do you know what I mean? So he's not saying, oh, my babies travel back to the arms of a rightful owner. He uses the word our babies, which is interesting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like intended as a shot. Like, yeah, I'm acknowledging Kim that she's our daughter, but she's with her rightful owner now. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So he doesn't say, my babies, our babies travel back to the arms of a rightful owner, which I always found that interesting. That
Yeah.
just one little word there. Um, and suddenly it seems that my shoulder blades have just shifted. It's like the greatest gift you can get. The weight has been lifted. And then we get into the little chorus, which is slightly different,
Yeah.
where he says, now it don't feel like the world's on my shoulders. Everyone's leaning on me because my baby knows that her daddy's a soldier. Nothing can take her from me.
Do you think that maybe the original that was just for Hailie was just him singing and then they threw the verses in when they took it like made it like a hit on the CD?
Well, so no, so I
Maybe.
like I was just saying,
I know
I
that you were
think,
saying you think it was with the first two verses,
yeah,
but
because there's nothing
I
bad
feel like
about
it's
those
maybe just like him
particularly.
singing the whole thing. I don't know.
What do you mean singing the whole thing?
Like maybe it was just him singing and that was what he was going to give to Hailie, but then they were like, no, you should make a song out of it, and then he threw the verses on.
So I don't
I
know.
don't know.
I just know what I read that he made this song and then was convinced to release it. So I don't
Yeah.
know what form it was at when that happened. You know what I mean? I don't know that anybody does other than him. You know what I mean?
I just feel like those are some pretty heavy verses to put in a song for your daughter, but
Yeah,
that's just
there is.
me.
All right, so there's just a little bit more to this outro.
My shoulders, everyone's leaning on me. 'Cause my baby knows that her daddy's a soldier. Nothing can take her from me. Woo. Told you I can't sing. Oh well, I tried. Hailie, remember when I said, if you ever need anything, Daddy will be right there? Guess what? Daddy's here. And I ain't going nowhere, Daddy. I love you.
Aw.
All right.
So yeah, like I was saying, I still doubt the fact that this entire song was initially meant for Hailie. I think maybe he wanted an excuse to put a song where he was singing on for the first time like that, and he probably felt uncomfortable about it and was just like, "Oh, just say that it was for Hailie," and then everyone convinced me to put it on the album. That's just the vibe I get. Everyone, you're probably gonna tell me I'm wrong, like it's just the vibe I get.
Yeah, because I think the story that I'm referring to, it's not like it was released when the album was released. I think
Yeah.
this is something that came out like years later. You know what I mean? Like hindsight, like like sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, hey, what was going on when you did this album or this song?" And then, I believe that that's when that came out. You know what I mean?
'Cause especially with that third verse, that's a little much to show your kid. Even though she was
Yeah.
probably like always in the public eye and like probably growing up a little too fast, a little faster than she should have, with, probably being exposed to like her parents' relationship issues.
Yeah, it
But it's
could
kind
be.
of hard to not be exposed to that, especially when you probably go to school and like, oh, I'm listening to your dad's music, or like my parents told me all about your parents. Like I can only imagine what she had probably gone through when she was in school.
Yeah, and then even I'm sure more so in like Detroit where they lived on local news, but even
Yeah.
Kim made it on the news at times,
Mm,
rehab, suicide attempts, so like all that shit. Yeah.
it's a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
But she looks like she's doing good.
Yeah.
Hailie.
So do you like this song or no?
I never said I didn't like the song. I just kind of doubt the fact that it was
So it was intended for her when she was older. That's the
yeah.
story.
No, it's a good song though. Like it if we separate the fact that it was meant for his daughter, I think it's a great song.
Yeah. I I think you can separate it. I think that's what makes it
Well, obviously the chorus and
sweet.
everything, it is literally like written to her.
Yeah.
But I just feel like, I don't know, it's like a lot to tell your daughter.
If it
But like,
was,
granted, every other song,
if it,
it just like all his music just sort of unloads that.
yeah, I mean, if it was meant for her as an adult, like, I don't think there's anything in that song that she wouldn't have already known at that
Yeah,
point.
that's true.
You know what I mean? I mean, I
Yeah.
granted it's got to be fucked up, even if he feels he was right. I'm sure in hindsight, he's like, oh, talking shit about like the mom like that
Yeah.
with her, like probably
It's
wasn't
gotta
the
be
greatest
like
idea.
bad.
Like I know he says he in the song Headlights, he makes an allusion to cleaning out my closet. Not even an allusion. He states that he doesn't play that song anymore and he cringes when he hears it, the one to his mom. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And then he talks about in his more recent albums that he apologizes to Hailie for making her such a large part of his,
yeah.
rhymes and shit.
And just like everything that she was probably exposed to before
Yeah.
that.
No, I get what you're saying,
Yeah.
but I think it's awesome.
No, it's a
This
great
this
song.
was for a while, this was my favorite song on the album. This was like one of my favorite songs, period. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah, I think it's sweet.
It's sweet.
It's funny, I don't think his singing's that bad. And like I said,
No, bad. It's just not like
no, he's not a singer.
this.
Yeah, he's not
Yeah.
a singer. And like I said, I do think the me is intentionally like
But
silly.
really, I got the vibes he was just trying.
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think he would do that.
Like you do.
Yeah, no, I mean, maybe it is me
Like, I'm just
having a
giving like
feeling.
my first thought, whether you guys like it or not. That's just my first thought.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't, with that particular one, I don't think he's, going crazy. But,
Yeah, no, it's a great song. Just yeah.
all right.
Okay. Well, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll
Yes.
see you guys tomorrow.
See you. Bye.